Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV, talking food again. Oh my goodness, I'm so fortunate to be in this position because there are so many great events that happen throughout the year, but in particular over the sort of the spring, summer, and fall, that's when you start getting all this great seasonal products. And my next guest has a great harvest celebration happening tomorrow. I am joined by Meghann Baker. She's the owner of Fiat Farm. Welcome, Meghann. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to talk to me about this journey because, you know, you're a small family farm. Mm-hmm. What was the inspiration? Like, take me back to when you and you know, your husband decided, you know what, this is what we want to do for ourselves and for our community.
Yeah, so Nick and I grew up in Russell, where our farm is located, and we knew that we wanted to raise our family there. And even when we were dating, we used to drive the back roads and look for property and dream about where we were going to stay. We started dating when we were quite young. Anyway, we knew we wanted property, and if we were going to have property, I knew I wanted to do something with it. And of course, you know, we live in a farming town, and so farming seemed like something logical. Initially, I didn't really see myself as a farmer, but when we found this place, somebody introduced us to permaculture. And permaculture is an approach to agriculture or to farming that basically imitates ecosystems. And so when you observe an ecosystem, like the forest, for example, you'll notice that nobody tends the forest, but everything is thriving. And the reason for that is because everything is working together. Everything is working in relationship. And so this was very interesting to us. And there's a lot of YouTubers out there that are kind of sharing what they're doing. And so we started checking out some YouTube videos, and we felt like, yeah, I think we could raise chickens. Let's try some chickens. And so we did that, and we were successful. And then we went on to pigs and eventually to cows. And then we started a market garden. And so we have a vegetable CSA now, and we're serving about 20 families.
Oh, that's amazing.
With that garden. Yeah.
So you didn't have any background in farming, like either of you?
No.
Even though you know being in Russell, of course, I mean, you were surrounded, I'm sure, oftentimes, and you know, going to the fair and things like that. But that's absolutely amazing. So what did you do before, each of you?
Well, I have a degree in English, and my husband's a general contractor. But we have 6 children, and so I was at home with them, and I homeschool our kids as well. So that's what I was doing in our married life. So
very cool. Yeah. So you brought some examples of products. Some of the product, of course, is yours. I noticed some of the product is also not yours.
That's right.
But this is just a great example of what we have available in our city, right, in our region. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a pretty special thing about Ottawa, that people don't realize how fortunate we are to have as much land. I know sometimes we think to ourselves, oh, you know what, we've done this urban sprawl idea, but at the same time, that urban sprawl leads to us being introduced to, you know, people like yourself, right?
Yeah, in permaculture, there's a real emphasis or a real movement. I think there's a movement in general towards micro-farming, lots of farms serving communities. And our harvest celebration, which you mentioned at the beginning, is something to celebrate that. So we don't see permaculture as something just that we can apply to agriculture, but also to something that we can apply in community. And so we see all the parts coming together, everybody bringing the best literally to the table in this event, and we experience abundance in that. And so that's what we're really trying to highlight in this harvest celebration. And so, yeah, you're right. We discovered this local vodka.
I'm familiar, and they have like so many different flavors, and you know the story too during the pandemic, how they switched to doing hand sanitizers at one point. They were donating to local hospitals. Just what a great success story they've been, right?
Yes, and we want to feature them in our entree this tomorrow night. Actually, our chef Vicky McCulloch really wanted to use this vodka, and we're going to create basically a Caesar on a plate. So it's going to have our smoked bacon, some of our pickled beans, and the vodka, of course. It's going to be absolutely delicious.
Very nice. Yeah. So walk me through. What does the celebration look like? What have you got planned?
So it's a farm-to-table dinner under the Weeping Willows at Golden Hour, if it doesn't rain. If it does rain, we do have a Quonset that we've set up, and that's where we'll be having our concert later in the evening, but it can easily serve dual purpose. And yes, a 3-course dinner. So as I said, this like Caesar on a plate, and then we're going to be having brochette, our chicken, our pastured non-GMO chicken will be served along with mashed potatoes and some of our kale and garlic, and also a ribbon carrot salad. And then we're going to be ending with a honey cake prepared by a local bakery, Simply Baked Catering in Winchester. They're going to be baking our cake, and they're using local honey from Smurlholm Farms. And then, yeah, we're also serving wine from Domaine Perrot because we wanted to source locally in that way also. So
yeah, which which is great to see that you've got a winery so close now, right? They're starting to now trickle into the region. It's just amazing the abundance of things that we have. I want to go back to your farming philosophy. So you mentioned chickens and pigs and so forth. So are they then eating and are they sort of free roam? Like, walk me through that.
Yeah, pastured. So as I was mentioning before, we're trying to recreate ecosystems. And so an example of that would be we would pasture our pigs through a part of our field, and they would spend a life rooting and tilling and fertilizing and living happy piggy lives where they get more and more space as they grow, just to roam and be pigs. And then the following year we can plant in that soil, and we have abundance. And we didn't do all the work to prepare that land, the pigs did. And so we're working in relationship with one another, and we're all the better for it.
Are you seeing more farms? I know you mentioned that a little bit earlier, but are you seeing even in that area in Russell going that route as well?
I'm seeing more homesteaders that are implementing a lot of these principles. That's what I would say.
You mentioned the CSA, so that I imagine you have to explain that, because I think it's a great thing, because people really are just investing in the farm, right? They don't know necessarily what's coming year after year. Explain that for us.
Yeah, they are taking on the risk of the season with us. And so anybody who, CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. So yeah, they pay up front, and then throughout the year, whatever we have, we divide amongst all shareholders, and we experience either the abundance of the season, or if there's a lack or a season that's a little bit less, then that's what we share together. We share the burden of that together. So last year was a tougher season. This year has been much better. And yeah, we just take it together. So we're just so grateful for people willing to partner with us. Again, I feel like it's an illustration of permaculture, that relationship, that working together.
Still tickets left?
Yes, there are.
Okay,
yes,
and what's the best way to get them?
Eventbrite.
Excellent. All right. Again, Fiat Farm Harvest Celebration, and that is tomorrow from 5 until 11 p.m. If you go to Eventbrite, you just look up Fiat Farm Celebration. You can get your tickets. Just a few left. We'll be back with more right after this.